how important is the timing of this, considering the damage caused to global trade, to global supply chains by COVID-19?
Yeah, this is expected to be good medicine for the economic recovery. Scott Morrison, the Australian Prime Minister, said it was crucial as Australia and the region rebuilds. Indonesia's Trade Minister sees it boosting his country's exports by 11%. And these are all views echoed by the trade ministers of most of the signatory nations. This is the largest trade deal ever, as you say. It covers a third of the world's population, about 2.2 billion people, collectively producing about a third of global GDP as well, more than $26 trillion. The member nations, all 10 members of ASEAN, China, Japan, South Korea, Australia and New Zealand as well. A notable omission there is India. India pulled out last year, wanted to retain farm subsidies, was worried about how the deal might affect its most vulnerable people. India does have an option to join later, though. But this is going to eliminate tariffs on at least 92% of traded goods and some stronger provisions as well to address non-tariff measures.
Hey, Paul, recently Australia's faced some pretty heavy-handed trade pressure from China. Is there any expectation RCEP might help offset that somehow?
Yeah, but potentially. I mean, Australian goods have been subject to inspections, reviews, and all sorts of bureaucratic problems when getting into China. All that's considered to be veiled retaliation for Australia's calls for an inquiry into the origins of the coronavirus. As to whether this deal is going to help, well, there might be an immediate benefit. All of these meetings this year have been happening virtually, so when in-person meetings resume next year, Australia might be able to use the RCEP Pact as an opportunity to meet with Chinese ministers, because there's been no ministerial contact between the two countries since this diplomatic spat got going. Trade Minister Simon Birmingham's urging China to act in the spirit of the deal. But in terms of China's influence in the region, this deal really does boost it, particularly when you consider the U.S. pulling out of the TPP. That might have acted as a counterweight for U.S. trade in the region. There's a few more steps to go for this deal, though. It's got to be ratified. 6 ASEAN countries and 3 non-ASEAN countries have to ratify this for it to come into effect. But that looks to be a formality. Singapore's signal it intends to approve this within the next few months.